Microsoft exploit that Microsoft found, right, about a month before, had fixed and patched the week of the attack. And so what happened is the hacker actually used that exploit and then got in. Now, typically ransomware hits your computer and stays there. But with this code that he added on that was stolen or leaked, now he's able to move laterally throughout your network. So everything that's connected to the network now can be infected. One of the things that you don't want to do is connect, if you are traveling, connect to a network you don't know about. I'm sure they have a network here. I'm not attached to it. I'm attached to my own. And so you want to be very careful with that. And so why did the US not have a bigger problem? Well, if you look at Europe, Russia, and all the other countries, they had a huge problem with this attack. Why do you think we didn't?
Private enterprise, people are able to have different products and costs.
Well, exactly what's happening today. You guys are learning what to do, right? Updating your system is huge. Updating Windows. This was like, I think, the fastest moving Windows investigation I have ever seen. So when Windows found out they had the problem, they actually fixed it extremely fast and then sent out the update. And then typically with Windows at home and with people, you have it updating in the middle of the night, right? And it might restart, or you might have to restart the next day. So my saying to you is make sure you update your system all the time, because this stuff happens. Why do you think it just affected businesses, this one attack?
Big dollars.
So you would think that, right? It was not that. You would think the hacker would go after businesses. No, this is a phishing scam, and typically ransomware attacks are phishing scams. And the reason why businesses were hit harder is because they take the time to make sure that the Windows update is not going to affect their systems, right? So at home, we just update it because we assume that it's, we don't have any major issues with the update, so we just do it, right? So the few things you need to make sure you update your operating system. Make sure it's doing it, right? Make sure you're updating your virus scan software. What kind of virus scan software should you have? This is a question I get a lot. So any ideas? Norton? Okay, that's good. Well, for one, so just to be clear, I cannot tell you what to buy, right? I can't recommend anything. All I can tell you is kind of what the threats are, and give you some awareness of what what's out there and what could affect you. So there's lots of different virus scan software out there, right? So Norton's one of them. AVG is another.
Kaspersky.
Kaspersky is another. I'm glad that came up.
Microsoft told me you use Defender. That's what they told me.
They defend. So a lot of these free virus scan softwares are getting actually pretty good. Defender is actually really good. It updates with Windows, right? You don't have to pay for it, but you have to think about who's coding, right? This is one of the things that when you're making decisions on what software to purchase or download or install, you really have to do the research and find out who is actually doing the coding or where is it coded, and that is what your decision lies. If you watch, I don't know, you probably don't, but like a lot of the Senate intelligence hearings, you probably don't sit there and watch them. I do. It tells you how boring my life is, right? So if you watch them, there was one person, one of the committee members asked each intelligence agency head, do they have Kaspersky on their computers? And every single one said, absolutely not. Why do you think that is?
Never heard of it.
So Kaspersky is it's actually quite popular. They do a lot of media, they do a lot of advertising, but who codes that software?
Oh.
It's a Russian-made virus scan program, right? So you have to do some research on who is actually doing the coding. Now, are there Are there non-US citizens at Symantec or Norton? Absolutely. But is it primarily full of Russian hackers and intelligence, operatives and things like that? No, probably not. Not like Kaspersky may or may not be. I can't tell that to you, but whatever, you can make your own assumption. So that is huge, right? So one of the things that I put together in this presentation was about IoTs. Who knows about IoTs? What's an IoT? I like to use acronyms, so that's why I'm trying to educate you that. This is something you'll see a lot. Capital I, little o, and capital T. Internet of Things. Who? I know, right? It's very funny. Who's done a network scan in their home or in their business? Anyone here?
My husband.
Yeah.
He's the one that has to take care of everything.
There's lots of free apps that will allow you to do this, right? There's free apps that you can download on your phone, and once you get on your wireless, you can scan through your network and find out how many devices are on. The last time I checked was yesterday. I had about 43 devices that had registered with my wireless device, my wireless router, and I think 32 that were actually active. One of the things that you want to watch is that all 43 items are not active, right? If you have a printer and you don't print but once a month, turn it off, right? Why? It's because how is it connected to the internet?
Through your computer.
No. This is where it becomes fun.
On the IP?
It's directly connected to the internet through the wireless router, right? So where is your virus scan and your firewall? On the computer, right? So we talk about this all the time. Typically, where is your information? On the computer. So it's good to keep doing that, right? But one of the things that worried me was I was at home where I work, and I was checking on my thermostat to make sure that it was set for away, because I have a Nest system at home. I have three AC units. And so I wanted to make sure that they were off, right? Or at least, set for a higher temperature when I was at work. And so when I did that, I'm thinking, so I'm going through my phone to the cloud. I have Verizon. To the cloud that hits my IP at home, and then it goes through my wireless router to my Nest devices, but there's really nothing protecting those devices. And one of the things that I started doing some research, and I found out that almost every single what's 7 mean?
7 minutes left.
Oh, you're kidding me, really?
Actually, you have more than 7. We're
You
going to
got
let you
more
go
than
to
7
5 minutes till.
Okay, that's good. Whew. I was like, what does that mean? What is that? Okay, so you have to think about, and this is one of the things that I talk about, man, what the heck? So doing a risk analysis on everything you do when you do purchases, for instance, Hue lights, right? Fantastic idea. Drop my heating bill, like $50 a month, the first month, because I didn't have, it was LED. I could turn them off, I could set them low. I wasn't wasting the energy, right? So a really good investment. But think, that's an internet connected device. And there's a hacker out there called, what's his name? Whatever, I can't think of his name right now. But I can show you in a minute. He is actually attacking these devices. Why? To bring awareness to the public, saying that the people that are manufacturing these devices, the companies are not doing the necessary steps to protect those devices. And so one of the things I did was looked at how many times my Nest system is going out and just hitting the Nest servers on the internet. In 1 month, it went out 20,000 times. Every single time it went out on the internet, that information was unencrypted and was sending my personal information out on the internet to the Nest router. So anyone, say, attack Nest would have my information. Anything you register with, like HP, Dell, things like that, that's all going out every single time, and it's shocking. So how can you tell at home or in your business what's happening on your network? Right now, unless you go to like OpenDNS where you actually have an account and you register your IP, there is nothing. And there's no really set firewall except for basic firewall settings to protect these devices from hackers doing this. So that's a big issue, right? Wow, and that is a huge issue. Another issue is phishing, spear phishing. This is where you get typically your biggest attacks from, especially with businesses, is spear phishing. So what is phishing? Well, to save time, who doesn't know what phishing is? Okay, so if I am in Memphis, I'm a hacker in Memphis, and I'm going to attack people in Memphis, I am going to look at monopolies in Memphis. So I'm going to purchase emails on the dark web, which I can do pretty easily, and look at where they're from. So I'm going to pick email addresses that have registered in Memphis, right, area, and I'm going to design an email all about MLGW, right? So I'm going to say your account's been deactivated, your electricity's been cut off if you don't validate your account information. So click here and validate that. I'm going to send that to a million people, right? Wow, I'm bored of Memphis, but a lot. And so I'm just casting a basic rod and reel out there with some bait and hoping to get somebody, right? So that's phishing, and that is probably the biggest issue that's happening right now. That's what people need to understand is trust no one on the internet, don't trust any email if it comes from your mother, which I delete, right? Because I don't trust what she does on the internet. So you have to look at that, right? Also, I mean, if the email comes in and you're not expecting it, even if you are, do not click on anything, right? So if you have to go to a web page, go to that web page, go to MLGW. That's the safest way to do it. Spear phishing now this is big for businesses, because what a lot of people do to bring people to their web page, got a number back there? What am I at? Okay, good. That was a joke. All right, so what businesses do is put a lot of information on their web page. CEO, CFO, CIO, names, where they went to school, all bad ideas. Why is that bad, Miss Social Media person?
Because the more information they know about you, the more it might seem like they're legitimate.
Oh, so the more information they know about you, the more places they can go to find out more about you, right? So if they know, well, I went to University of Memphis, with Memphis State back there, you can go back and figure out how old I am, right? And you can find all this on Google, right? So they can find out more and more about you, and then design an email specifically hitting you, and they're going to use a couple of little tactics. They're going to use fear, they're going to use a sense of urgency, and I have a great video, it's 2 minutes, that talks about this, and it shows exactly how easy it is, and how easy or how quick companies can fall victim to this. Trust no one. Remember, I don't care what's going on the phone, trust no one, because you don't know. A lot of companies have a lot of protocols set up, and they fall victim to exactly what you're going to see. Go. And by the way, there's a cuss word in here.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
You want to do a sample of phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today, so I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to
It's
log
funny, he
into
doesn't
our
think it's funny,
account
does
for uses information, and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying, and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com.
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our order dollar on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through the text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. Alright, thank you.
Holy shit. They just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password right now. This is Jess. My name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yep.
So, can you protect against that? No. Right? You can't protect against that, but it shows you how easy it is for someone to gather a lot of information about you. Once they're in your email account or on your phone, now they're seeing emails and seeing how you actually write emails, who you're talking to, if you're working towards to get a mortgage, if you're doing some sort of loan, then someone's going to get in the middle. So be aware of that. Passwords are huge. This is the last tip I'm going to give, other than updating your system all the time. Make sure you do it every day. I did it before I got here. Thank you. I see the 3 there. Thanks. So passwords are the next big thing, right? Make sure you have a separate password for every single thing you do, and it's extremely long and complicated. I have right now, I use a service called Dashlane. There's lots of them out there, like 1Pass. I can't recommend any of them, but there are lots of them out there to help you organize your passwords. Now, there's a risk here because you send them to the cloud, but the reward outweighs the risk, right? I have right now 302 different passwords. One password I want to make sure I have is a unique password that no one has access to, is my bank. I want to use one computer or one device to log into my bank, and I want to make sure I keep that consistent, and I change my password every 90 days and use a service, or at least make it very complicated. And that is probably the biggest things that are going to affect you. And I can go into so much more about social media and things like that, but we'll move on to questions since I have 2 minutes left. One right back there?
What apps?
I see you, Joe.
Because I know you can't recommend us the apps to use for protection, but what app do you use for your phone? What app do you use for your computer for protection?
So are you asking protection on my phone from what?
Like, some people use Norton, some people use.
Well, right now there really is no good virus scan program for phones. You have to rely on the App Store to do that checking for you, and I can tell you it is packed full of malware in certain apps. So again, back to the coding, looking at who's doing it, I would not buy from apps designed or developed in different countries or things like that, or countries that are questionable. I would not do any of that. I use Dashlane, I already told you that, to keep my passwords, but there's so many different apps, and it allows you to change passwords quickly. It notifies you when things there's a problem. There's so many different things with that. But virus scan, I use Symantec Norton on my home computer. But again, there's lots of different ones you can purchase out there, and a lot of companies use different ones. All I can say is look who does the coding, because it takes really about 30 to 40 days for viruses to be defined. So on new viruses, new malware, no one really can protect you for about 30 days.
Do you use one on your phone though?
I do not. I just make sure I have approved apps or apps I've looked into. Hold on right there, I see you. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering, I get on Facebook on the evening, just kind of looking through, and there's one there that's very obviously, it says, I like history. So say, can you pass this history quiz? And the questions are so simple, like who did we fight in World War II? You know, who was our president and started? I mean, it was so simple. I finally got out of it. I thought, somebody just psyching this question out. Is that a legitimate site if you're just having fun with like a history quiz or a food quiz or anything like that?
All those things. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to do them or not. I would not do those things. One, because again, you have to think of, for instance, okay, so a good example. So when you start getting spam email, right, and you see at the bottom it says unsubscribe, right? Would you hit that button?
No.
Why would you not?
I just don't want anybody attaching to whatever they got online.
Well, that's, again, you're following the good thing, not clicking on links, but a lot of people do. Why? Because they say, well, I don't want to get this anymore, right? What that does is if it's a bad email and there's no malware attached to it, at least it's validating that it's an accurate email. And it's a good, valid email. That is worth a lot more money to hackers than anything else. So as it pertains to web pages, the same thought process, right? Go to pages that you know and are familiar with. Are they always going to be safe? Probably not, because there's lots of things that people can do to put things on web pages, but go to safe ones. If you're not familiar with it, I would not go there.
What do you see? Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you see as the biggest threat in the future that the FBI is facing?
So if we do, so what I'm doing and what Director Comey, well now ex-Director Comey, we put a lot of effort into outreach, into making sure that threats like this, that we do awareness training. And right now, if you don't become aware of what threats are out there and what to put on the internet, where to go, the IoT issue, if people don't know, it's just going to get worse and worse. And so that is probably the biggest thing that we can do, is just awareness, understanding what's happening, and making sure that if you do run businesses, which apparently all you do, just to keep doing awareness training and making sure your employees know, because that's going to hurt your company. Well,
I'm always looking for design inspiration. I'm researching out there. That can be dangerous.
it could be, but again, you know, do smart things. Like for instance, okay, if you're on CNN, right? So you're looking down CNN on the internet, you see, or on your iPad or whatever, you see actual articles from CNN, but you also see ads, right? So what's safe or what's not safe? The ads are probably not as safe, right? So, you know, you can go to places, but just be aware of what you're doing. And if things become odd, if you start noticing odd things happening, then I would probably stop.
Because I'll go to a site and I like it a lot, and I'll see something else that they are interested in, and I go there.
Right. If you talk to the lady behind you, this is what it becomes very fun to do. Social media and linking with other people that are valid people. I know, but so it's linked because they're on that same webpage. You see there's some connection. Bad people do this all the time, right? It's called a false flag or something like that. So it is basically they're attaching to a valid site to make them seem more legitimate, right? So
some of that though, actually, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but some of that is marketing. It's called display advertising on mobile. When you go somewhere like on Amazon, I don't know if all y'all shop online, but when you're on Amazon and you're looking at something in particular, you'll be noticing all of a sudden what you've looked at is following you to different websites. Some of that is really just display advertising. Some of it is all about impressions, and some of it is about you know, depends on if it's a valid.
absolutely, and you don't think hackers know this? I mean, I can stop with that. Hackers do, they know this, right? She obviously knows what the SOPs are for these cell phone companies, right? But she knows how to get around them by using different tricks. But cookies, tracking cookies, different things like that. I can talk about this for the next hour if you want, but I don't. Last thing in a minute. There's a lot of valid things, there's a lot of non-valid things, so you just have to be careful.